Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia, coming to you today with a fun coloring technique that is going to be so easy that I know you're going to want to give it a try. Let me go ahead and switch out my cameras so that we can see what I'm talking about. Now, I just got back from on stage and I'm still really congested. I got very sick when I got home, so don't mind me. I'm feeling much better. I slept almost the entire day on Tuesday. It was really wild. But while we were at on stage, they had the product experience area where we could go and try different techniques. And one of them was using the Brayer, because this little tool is really not utilized by a lot of people, but it's a great tool for making very quick and easy backgrounds. In fact, I actually have two. I couldn't find the one I had originally purchased. I thought I got rid of it in one of my purges. So I went ahead and bought another one. So now I'm the happy owner of two Brayers. But let me show you a little bit about what these are. So you'll notice it's obviously got the wheel in the middle that spins, and it's got these little legs. So when you're resting it on your work surface, you want the legs to be down, right? And when you're going to go ahead and use it, you want to put the legs up so that you can roll it along without getting anything on it. You'll want to have some handy wipes around, some baby wipes around, because if you're going to use multiple colors, which we're going to do in a minute, you'll definitely want to have those to clean this off in between the color changes. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. The first one is just going to be a very, very simple technique. I'm going to use, let's try some Granny Apple Green. Got a whole bunch of stamp pads here. And I'm just going to take a piece of our basic white. Now this is just a quarter of a sheet because I'll cut it down to whatever size I need. But I'm going to take my Brayer and I'm going to just roll it along here. And you can see it's starting to get some ink on it. Okay, you can see some ink starting to get on it. So I'm just going to continue to kind of roll it on my ink pad. Notice my legs are up, little legs are up, and I'm just going to continue to roll it. Then I am just going to roll this any way I want onto my white, my basic white, because I want to get those lines and that little interesting different ways it looks. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I decide I have enough. Let's go over here, and let's go over here, and let's go here. Maybe one more there. And that would be all I would do for this particular piece of paper. I would just put a whole bunch of different green on it, color my white with different green and having it going in all different directions. Get those little variations, the variegations in the color and the texture to just kind of really add some interest. Now, as it dries, some areas will dry darker, some areas will dry lighter, but that will be what we'll do with that one. Now, what I would do with that one is I would use it for something like this. I would just stamp, this is the cutest crew, I would just stamp the line image across, then maybe cut out a few. On the bottom, I kind of cut off that piece, use the die, I can't think today, I'm still sick, to cut that piece off and flip it around. And then I would just do that. So that this piece could then be transformed into this background for the card. Can you see? For this one, I used Coastal Cabana. Can you see the variations in it and just how it kind of gives different? They got a little bit lighter over here, a little bit darker in the middle. So that's how that would work. Now, let's say you wanted to do like just one color, and you wanted to have it sort of be like an ombre effect. I'm going to go back to my Granny Apple Green, okay, because I've already got my Brayer inked with that. Okay, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to just kind of roll it up my card. Now you'll notice as I go, it does go and get a little bit lighter automatically. So let's say I wanted to make that light just a little bit darker. I'm going to start on the bottom again and roll it up. So now I've got a little bit darker up here. I'm going to kind of hit that little edge there. Now I want this bottom to be really dark. I'm okay with this is pretty light. This is pretty good. I really want to get that bottom darker. So I'm just going to keep inking up my brayer, and I'm going to just kind of roll it on the last third. And I'm really going to get that really dark. Okay, because that's where I want it to be the darkest, so that you could sort of see that ombre effect. But now let's say, this is great. It's a great way to get an ombre effect if you only have one ink pad. But let's say you want to use a bunch of ink pads and get the ombre effect using complementary or not complementary colors that are like monochromatic. They're next to each other on the color wheel. So let me clean off my brayer. That's all it takes. It's just a little bit of the baby wipe. Now the screen's going to be all over my hand too. I guarantee it. Put that over there. Just make sure. I'm going to roll it here just to make sure. Okay. So now I'm going to start with my lightest. I'm going to use Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, and Petunia Pop. And I'm going to start with my Bubble Bath. Okay. And I'm going to ink up my brayer again, feed her up. And I'm just going to ink it up. Now, Bubble Bath is really a very light color to begin with. So for this one, I'm actually going to use what I would consider, excuse me, the darker end. And you can see I didn't get all my green off because I've got some green coming in there. What I would consider my darker end to be like the top of my ombre. Let me grab another ink pad. I have to clean it anyway because I'm going into Fresh Freesia now. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. All right. All right. Let me grab my Fresh Freesia. I'm just going to grab my Petunia Pop almost. I don't want Petunia Pop yet. All right. I'm going to, again, just ink up my brayer. And then starting on the sort of the middle half down, we're going to ink that up with our Fresh Freesia. Okay, so we've got our Bubble Bath, we've got our Fresh Freesia. Let's go with our Petunia Pop. Notice I put my legs down. All right, the Brayer's legs down. That will be taken out of context. Sorry about that. The Brayer's legs were down. Now I'm going to ink this up, and we're going to do Petunia Pop on the bottom of our cardstock. And you can make them as light or as dark as you want. It doesn't really matter. It just depends upon what you like. And when you're done, we'll trim this down in a minute and make a card, but you could do something as quick and easy as this. You have that beautiful ombre background, a very simple floral stamp, and a simple sentiment. It doesn't really get much easier than this. This really is just stamps, ink, and paper. That is all I have done here, but you've got that beautiful ombre effect. Isn't that pretty? Just using a couple of different tones of the ink. Same thing with the green. Again, this is using just the Granny Apple Green. We've still got those beautiful darker to lighter tones, creating that ombre. And here we've used 3 different ink pads that are near each other on the color wheel. Petunia Pop, Fresh Freesia, and Bubble Bath. They're all sit right next to each other like 1, 2, 3. So that works. And I also did it with, my sample was with Daffodil Delight. So it will work with just about any ink. These were done just using one color. Again, I just saturated it on the bottom and rolled it up and made it go lighter on top. And this was using the 3 different colors with a finished card that looks like this. Okay, now the last one is I guess, kind of my favorite. It definitely requires a little bit of patience and a lot of cleaning your brayer in between. But we're going to do the like a rainbow ombre. So I'm going to start here with my Azure Afternoon. Then I'm going to go to my Granny Apple Green. I'm being very brave opening all my ink pads at once. I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. I'm going to use Pumpkin Pie, and I'm running out of room. And you see it's a very messy, so make sure you have scrap paper down on your workstation. And then we've got our Real Red. All right. I don't think I can fit all of these across the top, but we're going to try. We got most of them across the top. And by the way, I got to use the new magnetic lid stamp pads at Onstage, and yeah, I'm sold. I like them. I know they're going to be more expensive. I am not going to run out and replace all my pads immediately, but as I need to get new pads, I am definitely getting the magnetic lids. They open and close like a dream. It was so easy. And I didn't end up sticking my fingers in the stamp pad like I usually do when I go to open up these. So that was a plus. Okay. Let me make sure this looks pretty clean. All right, I'm going to start with some blue. And again, I'm going to ink it up. Now, with the darker colors, it's much easier to see that the ink is getting on the brayer because you can actually see it. With some of the lighter colors, it's a little bit harder to tell. Just trust the process, as they say. So for this one, I'm really just going to go a little bit. I'm just going to go a little bit, like little baby rolls, because I don't really need a lot. Okay, I want to get a little bit more on that one side. I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm going to just go there, okay? Okay, that's my blue. All right, we're going to close that. I think I'm running out of baby wipes. Time to get a new pack. I don't know if I'm having enough to get through this demo. All right, cleaning up the blue. And I do like it's nice and smooth. It's I love the roller. It goes on so smoothly. Okay, make sure we got that. Looks pretty good. All right, let's go with our green. Let's ink up our green. Again, pretty easy to tell. It's a dark ink, so you can tell when it's getting on the brayer. All right, I'm going to same thing. I'm just going to kind of start here and just a little bit, not a lot, because we don't want to go too far down. We got to get 5 colors on here. All right, that looks good. Get rid of that one. All right, I can use this green one again because I did the green. And I know my palm is going, when I was doing my samples, my palm got all different colors on it. I'm trying to clean the brayer. You can see it, it's happening. My fingers are turning colors. This green ink doesn't want to come off this brayer. Sheesh. All right, that looks good. Let me go for the yellow. Now the yellow is going to be a little bit lighter, so it's going to be harder to tell that it's actually on the brayer. But, okay, again. Now, the yellow is light, so if you want to get it a little darker, just ink up your brayer again. Go ahead and darken it up. Again, you don't have to go very far. All right, there we go. We got the yellow on there. Closing up another one. All right, now we'll go to our orange. Again, just make sure you get that brayer cleaned up. All right, that looks pretty good. Let me go. I'm going to ink up the orange. Okay, again, I'm going to start here and just go a little bit. Okay, get that little corner there. All right. Excuse me, I'm going to go here. Okay, there we go for that. Got our orange on there. One more color. We're going to make it, folks. We're going to make it. We're going to get... And that is why I like the magnetic lids, because I literally just dropped it on my shirt. So we'll be going up to throw this in the laundry when we're done. And of course I stuck my finger in the pad as I went to close it. So yeah, I'll be happy for the magnetic lids. They're just going to be in the new in colors for right now, but that'll be a start for sure. Okay, let's get ink on the brayer for our last color. We're going to add this. And this was real red, and that is our final one. So that's how you add multiple colors using the brayer. And here is the final card. How fun is that? Now let me say, this is from the oh gosh, what stamps was this? Shapes, and I don't want to say it wrong. I had it out. Swirl Designs stamp set. When you have die cuts that are this fine, use the adhesive sheets. Back the cardstock with the adhesive sheet first. It will make it so much easier when you go to put this on the card front, because you won't have all that liquid glue, because it's really hard. Even if you use a fine tip glue pen, it's really hard to get the glue on these really fine cut shapes. So this is when adhesive sheets become your friend. But let's pull back our ombre one. I said we're going to make a card with it. Now remember, I said that I cut these to 5.5 by 4.25. So then I cut them down to the size I need for my card front. So we can cut this to 4 by 5.25, and I'm going to cut like 1/8 of an inch from each edge. That will help get rid of any like unevenness on the edges. If I didn't like exactly go to the top or to the bottom or to the side, that will just help get rid of it. Okay. So not a lot, just a little bit of 1/8. And that's just my thing. You don't have to do that. It's not a requirement. It's just what I like to do. And for this, I just used our Secret Sea ink because I love that one so much. I just think it's such a pretty ink. And did you hear we're getting a new black ink? We're getting a basic black hybrid ink that will work with both watercolors and blender Stampin' Blends. So I'm very excited about that. So you won't need to worry about which ink do I use when, because we're going to have the basic black hybrid. So very excited about that. Okay. I remember years ago when we used to have just a basic black ink. I had mine forever until I ran out of refill for it. All right, that is all the stamping that we're going to do. So how quick and easy was that? We have that beautiful ombre background, a pretty floral stamp, a sentiment, and we're going to add this to our card front. And then at some point I will add a piece of basic white to the inside. But I was pressed for time today because I have my big retreat coming up next weekend. I was really knocked out for like 4 days. So I lost 4 days of crafting time just being sick. So, that's what happens. And then you can add any jewels or whatever you want. But these are the cards that you can make using this ombre technique. It's very quick. It's very fun. There really is no right or wrong way to do it. Look, that a little bit of the wet wipe got on there. So now I have like a little bit of an effect on there. We don't want that. We want the finished card. So those are some quick and easy techniques that you can use with the brayer and your ink pads. You can use multiple ink pads. You can use one ink pad. It really is just depends upon you and what you want to try. But if you have the brayer, I encourage you to pull it out and to give it a try, because it is a really fun technique and it can give you some beautiful backgrounds. And it's especially good when you don't have a designer series paper that kind of matches what you want to do. Like sometimes we have bundles and like this bundle, the Swirl Designs didn't come with designer series paper that kind of went along with it. So like something like this is perfect for it. These were just some of the stamps in there, some of the background stamps. It doesn't have any sentiments, and I paired it with a sentiment from the Fabulous Sayings. But that's really it. So pull out your brayer, give it a shot. Just have a play with it, and see what you can create. That's it for me, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll be back next week. Bye now.